and broadcast Monty Nefaro, where we have the icon Keith Elliot Greenberg. Sir, thank you for joining the show and taking your time out of your busy life.
And that was quite an amusing little commercial that you had on.
Yeah, we have lots of fun on this show. I told you it's the lighter sides of thing. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you.
And
Let me
it
tell you.
actually made me think like, I've always liked Maven personally. And I probably saw him about 2 years ago at an indie event. And, look at that personality that he showed on your show. Imagine if he was allowed to showcase that when he had that wide spotlight. He may still be around today.
I'm of the belief, Keith, that AEW at the minimum should bring him on as an announcer. He would be incredible. In fact, I got to tell you, and again, I'm not trying to brag, but from his appearance on the show, he started a YouTube channel, and now people are starting to realize what a talent he truly is.
Right. I mean, and he's so entertaining. I mean, I always knew because I used to chat with him when he was in WWE that he was extremely intelligent, but that sense of humor, that's the first time I've ever really seen it on display like that.
I got to tell you, the entire interview, hilarious, straight shooter, and really a great guy. And I think now people are starting to realize it. So, again, if I was running a wrestling organization, I would certainly put him behind the announcer booth. I would think he would be pretty good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about you, right? If anyone
Okay.
with a resume like yours, well, first will you write a book about your life?
I don't know. I mean, it's so much more fun writing about other people's lives. And my last couple of books, certainly I there was a lot in the first person in those books because I did one book that came out in 2020 on the indie wrestling revolution. It's called Too Sweet Inside the Indie Wrestling Revolution. And a lot of that is written from my perspective as I went from one indie wrestling show to another. I have another one that came out in 2022 called Follow the Buzzards, Pro Wrestling in the Age of COVID-19. And again, that is also largely based on my experiences. What I experienced as a wrestling fan during COVID and what it was like to go to these socially distanced outdoor indie shows during COVID and what it was like to just watch wrestling during COVID. So there's a lot of me in there. I also I have a monthly column in Inside the Ropes magazine, which is UK based, but now because of Pro Wrestling Tees, you can purchase copies through their website and actually get very up-to-date issues. And it's an old school newsstand wrestling magazine with a very modern, forward-thinking sensibility. And I write a lot in the first person there. So I feel people have a sense of who I am. And I don't need to go back and say, hey, did I ever tell you about the time I met Blackjack Mulligan? Although I will tell a story now. You mentioned at the top of the show, you mentioned my Jewish ancestry. And when I was a kid, I was in Hebrew school at the Clearview Jewish Center in Queens. And Pedro Morales was going to have his first title defense against Blackjack Mulligan that night at Madison Square Garden after he'd won the title from Ivan Koloff. And the kids in the class were talking about it. And we were very excited about it. And the rabbi wasn't really paying attention to us. And then suddenly he's like, what's going on here? And this one kid in the front goes, well, who do you think is going to win tonight? Pedro Morales or Blackjack Mulligan? And the rabbi paused, smacked the kid in the head, and went, Mulligan Schmulligan. And I will say, in my life, I have had the opportunity to tell that story to both Pedro Morales and Blackjack Mulligan.
It's a pretty good story. When you wake up in the morning,